everybody. Happy Tuesday. Thank you all so much for tuning in to the PHNX Coyotes Podcast. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, and leave us a 5-star review. I'm Leah here with Craig. We've already voted on banning any call-ins from PD today from Dallas, and we've replaced him today, in fact, with former NHL goalie and current Sun Devils volunteer coach Eddie Läck. Eddie, welcome to the show. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you. I'm always the backup, so I'm happy that I got the call today.
Honestly, that's what PD was too. He was Eddie Belfour's backup. And I'm just gonna say that this backup situation is an upgrade.
Do you want to know too? I've also been Eddie Belfour's backup once in
What?
Sweden. Yeah,
You and PD need to have a talk about this. All right, Eddie. Before we get into all of this, now is your chance for your shameless plug for your real job. Go ahead.
So I'm not sure that everyone knows, but I do sell real estate here in the Valley. I'd love to connect with the hockey and sports fans who's looking to buy here. And you can find me on social media or my website, lackandlawing.com.
All right, smile right into the camera now, Eddie, with those white teeth. Look at that. This is a guy you trust, isn't it?
I actually
This is a
lost
man
a
you
little
trust.
bit on my tooth here. So, yeah.
Well, that's a hockey thing, so that's okay.
If you love working with a stuttering Swede, you know, I'm all available.
Sold. Oh,
right.
my gosh.
Before we get into some other things, there was a game today at the IHF World Championship between Sweden and the United States. It went to overtime. Great rally by Sweden, but the United States won to finish atop Group A in the preliminary rounds. I wore this shirt today thinking I was going to chirp you with it because I know you didn't play for AIK, but you told me something. So go ahead. Let's talk a little bit about your Swedish career before you came over.
Yeah, so AIK, Mika Kiprasov played there when he was younger, before he came over here. And he was my favorite goalie, and then AIK became my favorite team. So you thought you were chirping me, but this is actually something that makes me happy.
All right,
so,
I'm honoring you. That's what I meant to do, right?
Yeah.
Okay. You played in the World Championship too, right? 2017?
Yeah. I had one game, one shutout, and then a guy named Henrik Lundqvist showed up, and I got to watch a lot of hockey after that. But since I was on his team, he provided me with a gold medal, so I am forever thankful.
Did you beat Canada in the final that year?
Yes, in a shootout, and all the Canadians always bring this up, that a shootout never counts in a final. But yeah, I have the gold medal and you don't.
Yeah. Leah's Canadian too, so.
I am. But I'm also American, and I'm a dual citizen. So choose which side you like better.
Well, I have seen you tending goal at Coyotes informal skates in the past. So what drew you to this area? How did you end up in the Valley? You obviously never played for the Coyotes.
Yeah, so I got traded from Calgary to New Jersey in the middle of the season, and we had all of our furniture and everything, and I had just like 4 months left on my deal, and my wife's been bugging me for like years about getting something in the United States, and I was like, well, Scottsdale, Arizona, it sounds like a great place to like live. So we bought our house over FaceTime and just moved everything here, and yeah, loved it from like the first minute that we got here.
How was the realtor experience, by the way, when you bought that house? I'm just curious, you know. Was there room for improvement?
No, she was great actually. Yeah, no complaints at all.
Oh man. So obviously you end up in the Valley, but then you find yourself as part of Greg Power's staff with Sun Devil Hockey. How'd you get involved with that?
So I was golfing with the old equipment guy, John Lofner, who is with the Sharks now. Congrats, John. I know you were complaining for years about not being in the NHL, so I'm happy for you. Then Mellon, who was the goalie coach before, he got promoted, so the spot was open. So Greg just called me one night and we talked, and I just felt that it was a great way to still stay like within the game for me and be part of an up and coming program, you know.
So I mean, you've been part of this team as they've gone through the transition from Oceanside to Mullet.
Yep.
What's that been like for you, and watching the players go through that as well, and just like the growth of the ASU hockey program since you've been a part of it?
Yeah, it's been great. I mean, just like seeing the growth that this program has had is unbelievable. And I remember the first year that I came on, Powers promised me that we would have a rink ready in like a year and a half or like 2, but it took 4. But
Rings,
still, just like super proud to be part of this and seeing how fast like the growth has been. It's crazy.
Give me a comparison between Oceanside and Mullet. What has that been like going from Oceanside to Mullet? Oceanside, which is now in shambles, by the way. They wrecked the place.
I saw that. I mean, it's. I don't really think that you can compare it. Like being at Oceanside, and I loved Oceanside. It was just not a Division I rink, right? And it almost felt like going back to like the rinks that I played growing up, being 8 or 9 years old, right? So now to like finally have the rink that we deserve, it's awesome.
Yeah, I think it was UConn when they came out here very early and walked into that place, and I remember hearing players say, "Well, this is a cool practice rink. Where's the rink where we play the games?"
Yes. But I think that it was beneficial for us as a home team too, because like the road teams comes and like the locker rooms are not as great as they're used to and everything, and it's not as fun, right? So we definitely benefited from like that. And I know like Greg was trying to move the Oceanside locker rooms to Mullet just for like the road team to like keep that gritty environment, you know, like this is our rink.
Yeah. So was there an adjustment just atmosphere wise? Oceanside's obviously a community rink, and I mean everyone was literally on top of you in that rink when you looked at the layout of it. Felt like they squeezed the stands in where they didn't belong. Was it an adjustment for the team to adapt to playing in front of 5,000 fans in a legit arena?
Yeah, I think so. And like obviously like the players and everything was just really excited, but they hadn't played in front of these many people for a home rink before, and I think mostly it just took like a little bit for us to get used to having a new home and building that culture and everything in your new rink. It does take a little bit of time.
The guy I always feel sorry for is Johnny Walker.
Yeah.
Who used to joke that he played for this program for 9 years.
Yeah.
But he still didn't get a chance to play at Mullet Arena.
But his photo is up in the press box.
He deserved to step on that ice once, in my opinion. But anyway.
Johnny, if you make the Coyotes, you can still step your skates on the Mullet ice. Yeah.
Oh, man. I have a question. I mean, I'm unfamiliar with what a volunteer coach does. So can you kind of explain like your day-to-day duties with the team and what exactly a volunteer coach is?
Yeah, so the best I can describe the volunteer coach is that I don't get paid. So I volunteer my time and I am there to help the goalies. So we have a goalie skate from 9 to 10 every day. So that's kind of my time that I get with them. The nice thing for me about the mullet experience is that we have a gym in the rink now that I can go and use like before, and I can use like the cold tub and everything like that, right? So mullet definitely had its perks for me as well.
Aside from a lack of paycheck.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to, like, if people don't know, the NCAA just added a third paid assistant this year. So it sounds like your role is going to be curtailed significantly, but I remember asking you in the past if you would ever want to be a full-time goalie coach, because I think it's insane that the NCAA doesn't allow a full-time goalie coach. It's crazy that you ignore one position. But you told me pretty emphatically not a chance. So explain that.
Yeah, no, I'm just so busy with the real estate and everything, and my wife and I, we have a second kid on the way here in August as well. So thanks. So life is busy as it is, and I don't really want that pressure of like signing up and having to be there every single day, and like the road games and to scout new players and everything like that, right? So this worked out great for both me and the team, I think. So,
all right, Eddie, I asked you before you showed up today. You promised me some dirt on Greg Powers and ALLCITY, some stories. So once again, you have the floor.
Okay, so do you want me to start with Greg then?
You can start wherever you want.
So,
I'm all ears.
Greg, I don't know if I have that much dirt on you, Greg, but for you to call yourself a goalie, I think it's just like a slap in the face of like the rest of us that actually like play the position. I know that I had a huge height advantage of you, but you still did like the 2-pad stacks and everything like that. So not really sure that like I agree that you play the position, because it was so different when you did. And Al, my favorite Al. We have like a pump up video session that we have every year, where like Al shows his highlights from his playing career and everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he obviously had a great NHL career and everything like that, but skill wise, when your favorite highlight in your highlight reel clip is from a roller hockey game, that probably does not show you in the best light, okay?
We need more details on this. What are we talking about here?
So we usually have this trip to Flagstaff every year, kind of like a team building thing, and just to like pump the guys up a little bit. Al made a highlight reel video from his playing career and everything, and the favorite clip in there is like him playing in a street hockey tournament, and he like takes the puck from like behind the net and goes coast to coast and like scores, and I'm like, you like probably should have had one of these from the actual NHL when you played, but no, we all have our roles.
Wow, you came ready with the ammo on those two. Oh my god!
I have to see this highlight now. We might need to get a hold of this clip.
Oh my god,
100%.
100%. Oh my gosh. We have lots more to get into, but before we do that, the NHL playoffs are rolling on. Continues to be an interesting one. Florida taking a 3-0 series lead. We got the Golden Knights and the Stars tonight. Right now on BetMGM, Dallas is the favorite at home on the money line, -145. Vegas +120. The over/under set at 5.5 in that one. So if you want to get in on any of the action in that game, you can do so with BetMGM. And every Saturday and Wednesday, we got the claim your bonus bet on the house promotion going on. So if you just log into the app on either Wednesday or Saturday, you get a bonus bet. So make sure you do that as well. And if you haven't signed up yet, use the bonus code PHNX. There's a few different offers depending on where you live, but for our Arizona audience, you'll get up to $100 in bonus bets on your first wager with BetMGM. Again, make sure you use the bonus code PHNX. You can check out the show notes for full details. And now listen to Shane talk about the disclaimer.
Disclaimer, 21 plus to wager. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. U.S. promotional offers not available in Washington, D.C., Mississippi, Nevada, New York, and Ontario. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Colorado, D.C., Illinois, Indiana, Louisiana, Maryland, Mississippi, New Jersey, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, Virginia, West Virginia, Wyoming. Call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369, New York. Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP, Arizona. 1-800-522-4700, Kansas, Nevada. 1-800-327-5050, Massachusetts. 1-800-BETS-OFF, Iowa. 1-800-270-7117 for confidential help, Michigan.
Thank you, as always, to Shane. And listen, we got a big golf tournament coming up this Friday. The Keep It 100 golf tournament at Dobson Ranch this Friday, May 26th. It's not too late to get your tickets. So if you want to sign up for a 4-person scramble, it's going to be a ton of fun. Your tickets not only get you the golf, but it's going to get you free coffee, free food, free stuff. This amazing PHNX polo, which we saw yesterday, what they actually look like. They're phenomenal. So just so much worth the price of admission. Pins and Aces will be out there. Tons of our partners will be out there, and we hope to see you there.
Of course, we'll be out there. What's your role on that day?
It's not golf. I'm not very good.
I'll be driving the hospitality golf cart. But I've been told that I can't even be trusted with beverages. So I'm not sure what I'll be doing other than just greeting people.
I just hope whatever it is I'm drinking for
towels, something. I don't know.
Yeah. But if you want to attend, check out the link in our show notes and check out Pins and Aces. So you can stock up on your outfit for Friday. You can check out pinsandaces.com and use code PHNX to receive 15% off your first order and get free shipping. That's pinsandaces.com.
Want to ask you about TJ Semptimphelter. This was one of the best stories of ASU hockey this year. Obviously transferred in, and we didn't know what to expect, although he had given a little inkling in the bean pot of what he was capable of doing. What was it like working with TJ last season, and what did you see from him in his first year in a Sun Devil uniform?
No, it was great. I mean, just like you said, I obviously watched him a lot on film and stuff, but didn't really know what to expect either. And I just felt that from the first practice, he just came in and he took the net over, and like the energy that he's bringing, the work ethic, like I can go on and on about like what a great guy and what a great goalie he is, So yeah, super impressed with him. Now it's time to build on it.
Yeah. What makes him effective? What made him effective last season?
I think just his athleticism and his work ethic. We saw a few things that we could address in the summer with his goalie coach and everything back home, and he was very just like almost relying on his athleticism a little bit too much instead of being a little more narrow in his stance and more reading the game. And I felt that once we kind of reeled him in a little bit, like he could kind of access all of his reads and everything even better. And yeah, it was super fun to be a part of that this year.
Eddie, what gets said, about draft prospects. Well, basically, when teams are looking at goalies now, you almost have to check a couple of those boxes. They have to be your height, right? That's one of the things that they're looking at. Like, size is so important now in the game. So I think sometimes guys like TJ may get overlooked for that simple fact. What does he have to do to prove it to scouts that he's worth taking a shot on?
I just think that he's got to keep doing what he's been doing here. And I think that when you look at someone like him, scouts more look at like longevity and like see that you've been doing this for a while, and it's not just like a one-hit wonder, right? And I also think he needs to take us to a tournament, and I think that's really gonna just like turn some heads around and get him to like the next level.
Yeah, well, they got a lot of home games next year, so
Yeah.
maybe it's set up. Losing Josh obviously hurts, but the schedule at least is favorable.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Leah. Sorry.
You know, you've obviously played the position, but coaching is totally different. So what was that adjustment like? And how did you prepare from going to playing to then coaching?
For as much bad as I talked about Al and Greg, I think they helped me a lot to just like transition from player to coach, and I think like what I learned now is that as a player you're just like so emotional, and like every practice and every game means so much, and when it doesn't go your way, you're like so frustrated and everything, right? And like now as a coach, I more look at the big picture, I think, and just seeing the progression months over months instead of just days over days, and that's something that I kind of wish that I looked at a little bit more when I was playing myself too, and just having that experience and like trying to share that experience with them as well, I think is very important.
What's your basic goaltending coaching philosophy?
So I like my goalies to play a little bit deeper in the paint, a little bit more time to like react, and a little bit more time to read the plays. I know that TJ is like a really good skater, and he could afford to play a little bit more aggressive than I was playing, but I still think that my goalies should be 95% in the paint, and try to work a lot on just movement of like the feet, and we work really hard in practice, so the games will feel easier, you know, and put them in harder spots in practice, so they would feel a little bit more comfortable once that happens in games.
So I feel like I'm always surrounded by goalies. Craig's a goalie, you're a goalie, Coach Powers is a
He's
goalie.
already taking shots at small goalies, so I'm just going to say it quietly.
PD, who's not here today, he was a goalie, so there's a lot of goalie talk, let's just say. And something that PD gets on his soapbox about a lot is the reverse VH.
Yeah.
So on behalf of PD, I want to ask you your thoughts on the reverse VH. PD hates it, cannot stand it. But we've also heard from other goaltending, experts the benefits. So what's your take on the reverse VH?
I'm gonna be a little bit middle of the road, so I think there's a time and place for it. I do agree that it's been overused for a number of years now, and we're more kind of transitioning to a game where goalies are a little bit more patient, stay on their feet a little bit longer, and so yeah, I think that it's being overused at times, but there's definitely room and a place for it.
Yeah, we're seeing shooters that are adapting to it too.
Yeah.
You can put it in that little window now where it looks really bad when you get scored on from the goal line.
Yes.
On that note, and I've talked to goalie coaches all over North America. Ryan Clark just did an unbelievable story on this for ESPN. Coaching philosophies do differ by nations, and there's some fear that in Canada and the US we're making robots where this is the technique you use in this case, this is the technique you use, and it's drilled into them at a young age, so automatically in a certain situation you drop.
Yeah.
Whereas in Russia, or maybe in some of, like in Finland or Sweden, maybe they're allowed to play athletically earlier and then the structure gets overlaid later in the career. Just your thoughts on all of that.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I see that a lot in Sweden, where I'm from as well, and just there is a lot of blocking going on when I like the word puck tracking instead of puck blocking, right? And this is kind of part of a bigger conversation as well, because I think that we try to specialize too soon with young kids in general. And like, I remember when I grew up, and it was like, yeah, in the winter you played hockey, and in the summer you played soccer, right? And nowadays I feel like it's like 12 months out of the year where they just play one sport, and it's 5-6 days a week and games and everything. And I just think that like when you specialize too early, you lose a little bit of that athleticism and more like thinking on the spot, I think. I don't mind my goalies. Like I grew up with Jacob Markstrom, who turned out to be one of the best goalies in the NHL, right? And like, he didn't really start playing goalie until he was 12, and played hockey and soccer split up until he was like 16 years old, and then he got drafted at 18, right? So I just think that we specialize too soon in general.
Yeah, there's so many things to think about with that too, right? Like, just aside from the mental break that you get from just taking some time off and doing something else, playing a different sport sort of trains your muscles and your mind in different ways that might be beneficial when you come back to hockey.
Yeah. And I like get it too that parents want to get their kid like the best possible opportunity, you know, and that's what I'm gonna try to do with my kids as well. But I just think specializing too soon is not good for them.
So you obviously just touched on that a little with the specialization part, but how else have you seen like the goaltending position evolve from the time that you were playing as a young kid to your time in the NHL to even now watching? Just what are your thoughts on the evolution of the position?
Yeah, I mean, like when I started, we still did like the skate saves and like the 2-pad stacks and everything. I didn't really get into the reverse HV before I was 22, I think, and I came over here, and that's when kind of that whole thing started. So I'm not really sure what the next big thing is, but goaltending definitely evolves for like every year, I feel like, and like they're always trying new ways to make more goals and everything, and the goalies keep finding a way to stop the puck, I feel like. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting seeing what the next thing is.
I'm always fascinated by that innovation, like how you adapt to what's happening. Okay, guys are scoring over my shoulder, what do we do now? Or are there other adaptations?
Yeah,
always a fun thing to watch in sports. Before we go to an ad break here, just wanted to ask you one other thing. Are you involved in the sport in any other way, locally or nationally or internationally? Do you try and keep your hand in other than Sun Devils, or you just not have time?
No, I don't have time. Yeah. No, I just do Sun Devils, and then I had tickets to the Coyotes and everything, and praying that they'll stay, and yeah, we'll see.
But when the kids grow up, buddy, you might have to come back into it, right?
Yeah, I know. I've been really pushing hard for golf because I have been in cold rings my entire life, and I like see how stressful it's been on my parents to raise a goalie and stuff, and like I would like my kids to play golf, but they're probably gonna be hockey players, you know. Like,
how old's your oldest?
2.5.
2.5.
Yeah.
Any interest in sports at that age, or?
So I'm taking her out with me to golf and stuff now, and
planting the seeds early.
We have snacks in the cart, and like it's all about the experience and
how much fun golf is.
Yeah, like golf is always like this, and then Yeah, we'll like stop for a juice on the way home, and it's like, yeah, did you have a good
see how
time?
cold it
Like,
is in here.
Yeah,
It's horrible.
exactly.
It's horrible. All the
Yeah,
practices are at 4 in the morning.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
that's hilarious. All right, well, before we get into some other stuff, we want to talk a little bit about the Coyotes and their goalies. But before we do, very lucky to have Four Peaks here in the Valley. Best beer around by far. We
And
have
in the refrigerator.
Yeah, we
right
have
over there.
our fridge is stocked with Four Peaks at all times, which is one of the benefits of working here, but also the benefits of living in Arizona, because you can buy Four Peaks beer wherever you buy beer. And right now they have a giveaway, Four Peaks 4 seats. One lucky winner will get 4 seats to an upcoming Diamondbacks games. They come with D-Bucks. You can grab some food, ice cold Wow, Wheat, or Hop Knot. You can enter at Four Peaks Brew on Instagram. The link is in the bio. Be sure to check out Four Peaks Brew or Four Peaks Pub on Instagram to keep up with the latest at Arizona's hometown brewery. Got to be 21 or older to drink Four Peaks. Please drink responsibly. And if you're not into drinking, may I suggest OGs as an alternative or an addition to.
Especially if you're a Coyotes fan.
Especially if you're a Coyotes fan. I feel like the last 2 weeks should be sponsored by OGs. OGs, they have something for everyone. Not only do they have delicious flavors, but they have sleep edition gummies. They have microdose gummies. Happy Balance, CBD, THC 1-to-1 ratio, indica, sativa, whatever it is you're looking for, OGs has it, and they come in delicious flavors as well. So you can find them at your local dispensary at ogsbrands.com. Must be 21 or older to enjoy responsibly.
Eddie, the Coyotes have an interesting history with goaltenders. If you look at their draft history, you're like, whew, haven't found a starting goaltender. But then when you look at the guys that they brought in, I mean, I'm going to just read some of the names that they brought in either through free agency or trades or even the waiver wire. Sean Burke, Ilya Bryzgalov, Mike Smith, Devin Dubnyk, Darcy Kemper, Karel Vejmelka, Connor Ingram. Why do you think they have so much success finding guys?
I just think that they have good goalie coaches here, like too. You talked about Sean Burke. We have Schwab. Elkins was here for a while, right?
And Benoit Allaire originally.
Benoit Allaire
Yeah.
originally. So like it's a history of good goaltending coaches, I think, and I don't think historically they're too nervous about drafting goalies because they know they have the coaching staff to develop them, you know. So yeah, it's they've always had good goalies here.
Who did you have as your goalie coaches when you were in the NHL?
So I had Rolly Melanson in Vancouver, and then a little bit at the end in Jersey, and like he was my favorite. I mean, he like really understood my game and like my strength and my weaknesses and like how I should play and everything like that. And like when you have a guy that understands you that well, like that makes the world to your game, you know, because you just feel so much more confident when you're out there.
Goaltending is obviously very much a mental game as well. And I don't know, I have a theory that the reason goalies tend to thrive in this market is because there's not a ton of pressure. I mean, you've played in Vancouver, which is like
Insane.
the pinnacle of pressure. Do you think that plays a factor at all into goalies finding success here?
I don't know. Like I actually had my best time in Vancouver, right? So like I like the pressure. I also think that yeah, there is a lot of outside pressure, especially when you come to the Canadian markets and everything. But even when I played for Carolina and like we like knew that we were gonna be a bubble playoff team, right? We had a lot of young guys. We weren't really ready for it yet, right? So that pressure wasn't really there. But there's so much internal pressure within the team, and like I guarantee you, like even the Coyotes here that we like knew was probably not going to make the playoffs this year, like they still have an internal drive, an internal will, an internal pressure to make the playoffs within that group. So I don't know. That's kind of like a long answer, but I still think that there's pressure in like every team that plays in NHL. Yeah.
Okay. We are about a month out from the draft. philosophy of drafting goaltenders has changed dramatically, where it's a rare occurrence where a guy goes in the first round. Part of that is I think scouts seem to struggle to evaluate goaltenders. Part of it may be that goalies develop on a slower curve than others. I just want to get your thoughts on all this because it's really interesting. It's difficult to evaluate goaltenders.
Yeah, and I feel like people that are drafting goalies in the draft, they either draft like franchise goalies in the first round, like you have your Carter Hart or like your Spencer Knight, right?
Yep.
And that works, yes. But when it comes to the later rounds, I feel like a lot of teams are just taking flyers on guys that are maybe bigger and haven't developed like or got their skating technique down and stuff like yet, right? I just feel like it's so hard to predict with those guys where they're going, and as the Coyotes have shown as well. I mean, you can find and develop really good goalies off of the free agent market as well. So, in my opinion, it's not really worth it to draft goalies in the later rounds and stuff, unless you have a guy like Carter Hart or Spencer Knight that you have to give up a lot to get.
Yeah, I've had this conversation as well. I don't know if you remember, if you know Kevin Woodley. I can't remember.
Yeah.
Runs In Goal magazine.
Yeah.
We talked about this a lot. A lot of teams use their regular scouts to scout goalies, and I think there's a little bit of a trend now where you have a goalie scout, but it's still they're not bouncing all over the globe to see guys. They might come in after somebody else has identified someone. It's a tough balance there because there just aren't that many spots in the organization. So how many resources do you want to devote to scouting them? On the flip side, does a guy who's a regular scout who understands defensemen and forwards, does he have any business scouting goaltenders?
No.
Yeah.
No.
It's like how many times have you heard the evaluation? Well, he plays big. What does that mean?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It's funny because like we talked about how the Coyotes always seem to have good goalies, and I like see teams over and over again that like always seem to have like I wouldn't say bad goalies because any goalie that are in the NHL is good, but like they don't seem to be able to find their true number one, right?
Yeah.
I like really think that just comes down to scouting and like evaluating goalies and everything, and some teams seem to have good scouting and everything, and then the GM has a mind of his own too, right?
Yeah,
So yeah, there's a lot that goes into it, but yeah, every team should let the goaltending decisions to the goaltending professionals.
Amen to that. Yeah. What? Listen, I want to see the draft age raised anyway because I think it's crazy to draft 17 and 18-year-olds. But why do you think goalies develop maybe more slowly? That's been the trend, that they develop on a later curve than, say, forwards.
I think it's just like it's a position that requires you to kind of have the backing of your team behind you, and like to prove that you can be a leader. And I think that it takes a while for guys in the room to trust you and stuff, and most goalies have to start in the minors, right? And it takes like when I came up from Vancouver, the like norm there was that we draft or we sign a guy free agent, he has to spend 3 years in the minors before we bring him up, and that's what happened to Corey Schneider before me, and that's what happened to me before I came up there. And I think that's the same they had with Jacob Markstrom too, and then that's the same they had with Thatcher Demko as well, I think. So like I just think it takes a while for you to mature into that leadership role and get the guys more to play for you, you know?
Goaltending's been an interesting kind of storyline throughout these NHL playoffs with, we saw how Bobrovsky's performed, Ottinger, the pressure on him, 3 of the 4 final teams have former Coyote goalies on them, by the way. Do you watch the NHL playoffs? Like you mentioned, you go to Coyotes games and stuff, but have you been tuned into the NHL? Are you watching the playoffs?
Yeah. I actually posted something on Twitter last week, and I asked if Florida wins the cup with Bobrovsky, is he not worth his $10 million contract?
Yeah.
And there was so many people who still said no. And I'm like, isn't it the cup that you play for? And like, wouldn't you pay anything just to have one cup? Like, right?
Yeah.
So that's mind-boggling to me, but yeah.
So who's your pick to win? What are your thoughts on what's been unfolding in the conference finals?
I am a little bit sad because Carolina told me that if they make the final, I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna do the siren and everything. So it does not look good for us right now. And I don't know what happened to Florida, but they just look so good.
Unreal.
But
they got in at the last possible minute into the playoffs too. It's amazing.
I know, but this just shows that like every team that get in can win, right? I still have a feeling that Vegas will win it in the end. I think they're the deepest team in the playoffs, and I think when you play William Karlsson as a third line shutdown center, you do have that depth to like win, I think. So yeah.
Nobody here wants to see Vegas win, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Not Vegas fans around here.
No.
I love the Florida story too. I mean, when I look at possible Conn Smythe winners, Sergei Bobrovsky is like near the top of the list with what he's done. And I agree with you. You win the cup, you're worth your money. That's why you played the game to win the cup. If they win it, unbelievable. But Matthew Tkachuk too. Wow, what a beast he's been in this postseason.
I know. Like he was so good in Calgary when I was there as well. Like just a phenomenal player. And I think that players like that just like can take over a series in the playoffs. And I unfortunately think that's what Carolina is missing now with Svechnikov out. And I honestly think that if he was still in, I think that the score would probably be reversed by now because like they've missed that one goal a game, and like he is their difference maker. He is their
no question
Tkachuk, right? So yeah.
Not to mention Pacioretty, the other guys that they're missing. It's too bad. Yeah,
it really is.
Do you ever get home back home to Sweden? By the way, do you go back much?
We went back last summer.
Nice.
That was the first time in 4 years with COVID and everything. I don't think we're gonna go back every year. Just like flying with a toddler was a different experience. and
I have been there. No, especially international.
Yeah,
like
we had a 16-hour flight, right? And it's just like we were these parents before that just said like, all right, we're like not gonna give our kid the iPad and stuff, and like, we're like stuck in this metal can, right? And we're like, here, take the iPad, take like whatever you want, like just be happy, like do you want chips, like
Oh my God.
Otherwise everyone hates you on the flight. That's the thing. That's the balance you have to strike.
Man, all right. Well, before we wrap up, no playoff hockey for us, but we are looking ahead to the NHL draft, and we want you to come with us to Nashville. We are going to Nashville next month, June 27th to 29th, and there are still a handful of tickets available to join us. So we hope to see you there. Tickets include...
Yeah, it's a big commitment, but we'll make it worth your while.
We'll make it worth your while.
That would be fun.
Pontoon boat ride, winery, live shows, meetups, going out on Broadway, and you can get your tickets to the NHL draft as well. So it's going to be a blast.
Tootsies.
We hope to see that 100%. That's all PD's been talking about for the last month. Got any Nashville recommendations besides Tootsies for us?
I had my rookie party in Nashville.
Oh.
Yeah. I don't know what else I have at Tootsies. we had a few guys on the team that could sing, so they actually went up on stage and stuff. It was hilarious.
We need to get
like,
PD on
yeah.
stage.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a
Oh
good
my
idea.
gosh. Awesome. Yeah, we're really looking forward to it. So join us in Nashville. And if you become a diehard, you can get 20% off events, including our trip to Nashville. You also get 20% off merchandise at phnxlocker.com and access to our Discord as well. So just a ton of perks to becoming a diehard. Hope to see you all there. Speaking of diehards, I feel like every day people are spotting me on the Circle K gas pump. Sean saw me yesterday at a Circle K. So stop by Circle K if you want to see my face, or if you don't, you can just stop inside, grab yourself some snacks or drinks. And right now, it's really hot. It's 100 degrees. Go inside, grab yourself a Polar Pop, and you can text PHNX to 31310 to join their SMS subscriber club and get a buy one, get one free offer on 32-ounce Polar Pops. Head to circlek.com/store-locator to find Circle K's near you.
Do we get free gas if we find you at a gas station? Or
I wish I had that kind of power, man. It's like Willy Wonka, the golden ticket. It's me saying, this is free.
You and Derek
And
yeah.
that's it. That seems to be it.
that doesn't. Nobody's seen anyone else. It's crazy.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Well, that's all I got. Got anything else?
No,
Craig,
hey,
anything
thanks
else?
for coming
Yeah,
down. It's
anything else?
great
But-
having you on the show.
thanks
Yeah.
for having me.
Yeah,
No,
appreciate
it's
it.
great. Yeah.
Love to have you back.
Hopefully we sold some houses today. So
I know. I wish I knew this when I was buying my house. I would have talked to you. But yeah, no, this has been great. Thanks so much for.
There's always a sale
coming in.
eventually.
I'll keep that in mind for down the road. But yeah, we really appreciate it and hope to talk to you again soon. But thanks again for joining.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, we will be back tomorrow live at 11 a.m. As always, every day we're here on the PHNX Sports YouTube channel. So we hope you subscribe, hit the notification bell so you never miss when we go live. It's so nice to not talk about the arena today.
Yeah.
If you want arena talk, go back and watch yesterday's show. But we're here every day, 5 days a week, no matter what. So follow along. You can follow us on Twitter at Leah Merrill. Follow PD along on the playoffs at S Peters Hockey. You can follow Craig at Craig S Morgan. Follow Sean at Sean_Deposit. You can follow Eddie at Eddie Läck, right?
Yes.
There, go give him some engagement on the Bobrovsky tweet. And you can follow the show at PHNX_Coyotes. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesday, everybody, and we will see you tomorrow.